Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Noreen from Organized and Creative Mom, and I'm so glad you stopped by to see what we're up to today on our monthly Scrap With Me ×3 collaboration. And this is such a fun collaboration where I get to kind of think about a fun idea with my scrappy friends Lauren Hinds from Crafts and Joy and Kylie Kingham from Paper Sweetpea. And we come up with an idea and we each create a different sort of take on that idea. So we invite you to come along once a month when we collaborate and scrap with all three of us. So it's lots and lots of fun. So this month, what we're really excited to bring you is a collaboration using Creative Memories Heart to Help paper pack. And this paper pack was designed and created specifically as a fundraising paper pack to help displaced families who are fleeing the war in the Ukraine. So back in March, Creative Memories made a corporate donation to the International Rescue Committee, the IRC, and then they were in the process of designing this paper pack. Now that it has been released, all proceeds from the sale of the paper pack are also being donated to the IRC. So it's a continuing effort to support those families, again, that are fleeing the war. As a Creative Memories advisor, I have decided to donate all of my personal proceeds from the sale of that paper pack. And as a collaboration, Kylie and Lauren and I also decided that the proceeds from our Scrap With Me ×3 handout, the tutorials that we make available for purchase after each one of our collaborations, the proceeds from this particular handout will also be donated. So from now until May 31st, we're doing a really strong campaign encouraging you to buy the tutorials. And then early in June, at the end of May or early June, we'll let you know how much money we were able to raise from the sale of those tutorial handouts. So make sure you check out the link below and head over and purchase the tutorials. Now, not only will you get the instructions for the layout that I'm about to share with you, but you're actually going to get some fantastic embellishments that we created in order to go with the Heart to Help paper pack, because it is just a paper pack. There are no coordinating embellishments or stickers or tools or anything like that. So the paper pack itself is a lovely palette of blue and yellow, which of course is the national color of the Ukraine. And you'll find some nice hearts, geometric patterns, stripes, some sunflowers, which are the national flower of the Ukraine. And, you know, just fun patterns that are going to be versatile. You're going to be able to use them for summer scrapbook pages, kids scrapbook pages, outdoor scrapbook pages, etc. But as I mentioned, it's just the paper pack. There are no embellishments. So we've come up with a PDF printable that is included when you purchase the handout. And it's the same PDF and same collection of PNG images. Every single one of these images we include as a PNG file as well. So if you have a die cutting machine, you can, use those in a die cutting machine. You can add them to a digital scrapbook page, etc. So it's the PDF and the PNG, and it's the same in all three of our instructional handouts. But of course, we would encourage you to purchase all three because, again, all the proceeds are going to the IRC. So today I've actually been inspired by these fun rainbows that we have on our printable, and I'm going to be making kind of a giant rainbow for the base of my layout. And I think I'm going to use this paper with the blue hearts on one side and the nice kind of chunky yellow hearts on the other side. So we're going to make a rainbow with this paper and then maybe use some of the other paper as accents. And although I could just simply fussy cut out some of these embellishments, I'm actually going to use my Cricut to print and cut some of them. So I'm going to show you how I do that because I want some multiples of the flowers and multiples of the hearts, and I want to make them a little bit of a different size. So I'm going to insert a little video clip right here of how to work with the PNG files that you're going to get when you purchase the tutorials. So I've already added a few of the embellishments. You can see I've added some of the hearts, a few of those cute little flowers, and one of the rainbows that I want to use. But I am going to go ahead and add another rainbow and show you how to kind of customize the print and cut feature. So let's go and upload an image, and we'll browse to where I have them. I already added this stitched rainbow, so I also want to add this heart rainbow. So I'm just going to click on that and open, and there it brings it into Design Space. You can see that because it's already a PNG, it already has that transparent background, so we don't have to do a lot of work on it. So I'm just going to choose a simple image type and continue. Again, we can see that all of the background is transparent, so we're good. Apply and continue. And then make sure that you choose print, then cut. If you choose cut, it will cut out all of these little individual pieces, which is fine for some applications. But for this application, where I want to make some printed embellishments, I'm going to choose print, then cut. So let's go ahead and upload that. And now you'll see here it's in with all of my other uploads. Let's go ahead and just select it, and we're going to add it to the canvas. And I already have a lot of the other embellishments already, sized the way I want, and they're ready to go. So I'm just going to move these over here, and I want to show you how to get the extra offset shadow, or in this case, an offset white border around the embellishments. And you can see, I think, here around the hearts or around these flowers and the previous rainbow, I've already added that white border. So all you need to do in Cricut Design Space is click on the image and then go up to the top here where it says offset. Now I've chosen this 2.25, a quarter of an inch, and I've also chosen to have the corners rounded. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply, and it's going to come in black. So you can see up here that the print then cut is black. So I'm just going to change that to white. Okay. Now over here on this side panel, it shows all the individual aspects. So I want to click on the heart rainbow, and then on the print then cut heart rainbow offset. And when I select both of those, then some of these options down here will open up. All you need to do is flatten it, and basically you now have, we can get rid of this border, but now you have this white border around the heart rainbow, which creates that nice white background, so that when I print and cut it, it will cut the outside edge. Now this is a little bit too big. This is 5 inches. So I'm just going to resize it up here. And because the lock is on, that's going to lock the proportions. So if I go 2 and then enter, you can see that it is now the right size. I've got little embellishments here, anywhere from 2 inches to 1.5 to 2 inches. So that's really a good size to work with on my layout. So you can resize them to any size you like. Now that I have everything ready, I'm going to hit Make It. It's going to sort everything, and it's showing me that I can get everything onto one piece of paper. There's all of the hearts, there's the rainbows, and I think it's going to look great. So I'm just going to press continue, and it's going to tell me to send this to the printer. I will print it and then take the piece of paper, put it on my Cricut mat, and place it in my Cricut to cut. So I love that it's so fast and easy to make these very custom embellishments. So again, you could take your PDF, just print that onto 8.5 by 11 cardstock and use your scissors to cut out whatever embellishments you like. But as you saw, I wanted to create multiples. So I went ahead and used that print and cut feature, and I've got all these fun little embellishments now that I can add to my layout. And I do want to let you know, just in case you're wondering later on, I did go back and do a separate little print and cut. I forgot this particular rainbow. These two rainbows were on my page, but I forgot to add this rainbow in. So I had to go back and do a little bit extra, but exactly the same process as I did before. And now I have all of these fun embellishments. So I'm just gonna set those aside and let's get started with the actual layout. As I mentioned, I'm going to use this paper with the blue hearts and the yellow hearts on it. I'm also going to use a piece of this paper that kind of has almost looks like a sun pattern on it. And it's backed with kind of a paler blue. I'm going to use a piece of blue cardstock for my base. And I think this is going to work out really well because I have some fun pictures of my husband Shane and our two sons. This was quite a few years back when we first took them for an ocean visit. So this is them playing in the ocean for the first time. So let's go ahead first of all and cut out our rainbow sections. And to do that, we're going to use the circle cutter. You'll also want to get out your 13-inch cutting mat because that's going to help us with measuring and figuring out where our cuts are going to be. And I'm going to use a little bit of repositionable adhesive just on the corners of my paper. And that's going to help, again, this paper just stay exactly where I want it so that my measurements are there for me and easy to work with. So with the circle cutter, basically we're going to cut some half circles, but I want to draw some lines on this paper. We'll erase them later, but I want to draw some lines on here to help me know exactly where to start and stop. So I've just got my ruler here and a pencil, and I'm just going to draw a line from the 6-inch mark to the 6-inch mark here. And then I'm going to mark the halfway point of that line. So again, the 6-inch vertical. And then we're just going to draw a line just, a little bit above and a little bit below. We don't have to go the whole distance. And the reason that we need this vertical line is that's going to help us place our circle cutter. You can see that when you look down from the top of the circle cutter, you can see two black lines. Those are the lines where we actually line them up to the measurements, but it's a great way to actually center your circle cutter. Okay, so we're going to get started with the circle cutter, and we're going to move it as far to the right as it will go. And it actually says 12, but you'll find that the little line ends up at 11, and I guess that would be 4/5. So we're going to lock that into place. And then in order to center this on the page, we're going to look at it from above and line up the two black lines with our vertical pencil mark. Then we're going to look down into this sort of empty space, this sort of channel, and make sure that we have our horizontal pencil line as close to the center as we can. There's really nothing that we can, specifically look at. I guess you could also look down here into the pencil hole. You can see I'm just covering that up. So you could look down and try to get that on the line. But I think for our purposes, placing it so that we can see the line on either side and the pencil line as close to the center as we can. I think that looks pretty good. That will enable us to basically have a good starting point for our circles. So again, I have it set at 11 4/5. I'm just going to press down the dome at the top, and that releases the little foot so that it holds it on the paper. And then this is our blade over here. We're going to squeeze in the white blade to engage the blade, and we're going to go around from the line up and over, and we're going to stop on this line. Don't worry too much if you feel like you've gone a little bit too far, around the line is fine. We're going to come in later and we're going to create the lengthwise cuts, the vertical cuts a little bit later. And we're going to move it just a half an inch. So actually we're going to move it 2 markings on the circle cutter. So we started at 11 4/5 as far as it would go. Now we're going to move it 2 markings, which is about a half an inch. So we're at 11 and I guess that would be 2/5. We're going to place it back down, get it all nice and centered again. That looks pretty good. And we're going to do a second cut. So now this is a little half-inch rainbow section. So we're going to actually be discarding these little half-inch rainbow sections because we want to have some space between each of our rainbow arches. Now we're going to make a nice big wide 2-inch rainbow section. So again, we're at 11 2/4. We're going to move it down to 9 2/4. So basically 9 plus 2 markings. Let me see if I can show you that again. So 9 plus 2 markings there. And now again, we'll use those black lines and looking at it from above to get it as centered as we can. Engage that little pressure foot and we're going to cut all the way around. So now we have cut 1/2 inch or a small skinny strip, and now we've cut our second large 2-inch strip. So we're going to continue with that pattern. We're going to move the dial 2 spaces, so basically a half an inch. So now we're down to 9. Line it up again and cut another skinny strip. And then we're going to move it 2 inches, so we'll be down to about 7 now. So we're just basically moving our way from big to small, changing it from a little half-inch cut to a 2-inch cut. And this is what's going to make all of our rainbow sections. So we've got 1/2, 2, 1/2, 2. Now we'll do another half, so move it 2 markings. We're now at 6 3/5. Center it as best you can. Make our skinny strip. Now we're going to move it down 2 inches. So it's going to be 4 3/5. So I'm at 4, I'm at the 3rd mark past 4. Center it, and now it's easier to look down this side to see if I've got it centered. Press the foot down, engage the blade, go around. Now we're going to be able to do one more little one. So this is going to be 4 1/5. Moved it 2 marks. Center it. Press down. And I think that's about all we're going to get because I won't be able to get another 2 inches because the smallest measurement here is 3. Okay, so I think this is good. We've got 1, 2, 3 nice big sections, and then we've got a nice center area here. So just gently lift off the paper from your cutting mat, and we're all done with that. And you can rub off any little bits of adhesive just with your finger or with an eraser. So now that we have our little skinny spacer strips and we have some of our larger rainbow strips, we're actually going to continue the cuts straight down from that center horizontal line. But we don't need our rainbow sections to be that long. So we're going to conserve some paper, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut a 3-inch strip from the bottom here. And we're actually going to use this in a moment, but that will allow us to not have to do quite as much cutting. Now you also could just take your scissors here. I think it would be very easy to just go ahead and trim out any of these little sections. You can see I'm just going from the bottom and meeting up with the cut at the line. And that way I'm just kind of releasing all of the little rainbow sections. So you can do it with scissors, and that's actually quite quick, especially because we just have, you know, a couple of inches to cut through. Or you can place your paper onto the trimmer and then use the little guide, the little arrow, or the retractable sight lines to make sure that you're lining up with where the cut was. And then you can just slice down through that. And that's what I'm actually showing you how to do on the instruction manual. But I've kind of found that this is just a little bit quicker. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish cutting all of my rainbow sections, and then we can assemble our layout. So now you get the sense of how we've cut that entire page. So really what we can do is just take off the little skinny strips, and you can see that we're going to have this nice sort of these rainbow sections that we'll be able to place on our page. Plus we've got our large piece for the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip over. I think I would like a couple of these to be the yellow, maybe the largest one to be the yellow. I'd like this one to stay white because that's, I think, where I'm going to be writing my journaling. Okay, so we'll set this aside for now. Let's bring in our base, and you can get a sense of how fun this is going to look on our page. Now I do have to do a little bit of erasing, especially on this main piece that's left in the center. But I really just want to kind of arrange my rainbow back into this sort of arrangement, and I want it to be on a little bit of an angle, again, just for a little bit of movement and whimsy. And we're going to actually create a border with this piece, and we're also going to cut a 3-inch piece from this paper. So let's go ahead and do that so we've got it handy. And then this piece, along with a border, is going to go across the base of our rainbow. So let's cut a border. I actually have the Diamond Arches border, which is still in the catalog, but I chose it because it mimics the shape of the rainbows, those fun arches. So I'm just going to go ahead with most of our border punches. You know that you start by lining up the paper with one of the black lines on the front of the punch. Go ahead and punch it. Move it along until, in this case, there's a small triangle that we're going to match up with the triangle printed on the base plate. And we'll just continue along, punching and lining up, all the time holding the other side of the paper against that back lip of the border punch. One more, I think. And we're going to add that pretty detail along the bottom of this strip. So let's go ahead and adhere those two together. You could trim it down if you want to save a little bit of the paper. And I think that's going to look great. So I'm going to go ahead and erase some of these, and I've got just a couple of little haircuts to give, and I'm going to adhere this all down. So I've gone ahead and erased most of those vertical lines there, and I've already added my border to that paper. So I'm just going to place it down here on kind of the same angle. You notice that my edges of my rainbow sections weren't very even down here, but that's okay because I'm just going to be covering it up with this pretty decorative strip. So now I can go ahead and just trim off this excess. And my base layer is all done. So all of the hard work is pretty much done now, and I can bring in my photos of Shane and the boys, and I like to just kind of group them in a little sort of V shape because it creates a natural, nice little area for some of our embellishments. And I just want to make sure that I leave enough space up here to do my journaling. So I can still see my rainbow rays. I've got room here to see that pretty decorative border. Let's play around with some of the embellishments just a little bit here. So I've got some nice large hearts, which will make a great sort of base for my embellishments here. So I kind of think I might want to have at least one heart, one flower, and one of those fun rainbows in each little cluster. And then I can certainly add some more little hearts down below. And then these tiny flowers, I think I'm going to just cut them out a little bit more so that I can use them almost like little accent embellishments. So they're just going to get a little bit of an extra sort of cut, and then they can complete my cluster. I think I'll do another one up the top here, maybe with one of these. Maybe this one, it's got a little bit more blue in it. And again, a large heart sort of tucked in behind, or maybe I'll tuck in the flower behind. My journaling there, and then I've got room for a title. Now, anytime I'm working with a paper pack that doesn't have specifically coordinating embellishments, I love to go through my stash and find some things that I can use. And in this case, I first tried my must-have laser titles, which are always great because they've got lots and lots of various sentiments. But there wasn't one that sort of captured that idea of sunshine and rainbows. So I got out some white script ABC 1, 2, 3 letters, as well as my white sans serifs. And I love mixing fonts like that. So then I came up, as I mentioned, the idea of sunshine and rainbows. So I mixed the fonts, and I think they're going to just go in there right beside this photo. And I'll make sure to put them on the same angle. And I've just got them on some wax paper here so that I can sort of see where the title will work. I do like to, overlap things a little bit, but the white letters over the white border might not show up too well. So I'll leave a little bit of space, and then I can bring in my final embellishment cluster here. Again, I've got a flower. Maybe I'll bring in a slightly smaller heart here. Maybe tuck that in behind. And I've got one more rainbow. So I've got my 3 embellishment clusters, and that forms a visual triangle. And I have hearts and flowers and rainbows in all 3. I think I might offset the rainbow, something like that instead. And then I can use these fun little small floral embellishments as my little accents, almost like you would use like a little gem. So I can just kind of scatter those around, and my clusters will be finished. So I really like the way that came together. I love these little embellishments, but again, there were so many others that you could choose from. This is absolutely beautiful, this floral cluster. If you're doing something specific for the Ukraine, we've got Pray for the Ukraine, and I Stand with Ukraine there for you. A little sunshine that mimics the sunshine in the papers, peace, and some groovy sort of 60s embellishments, and then that beautiful dove with the word hope. So I think you're going to find something on there that will work for your layout no matter what the occasion or the theme of the layout is. I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of this together, add my journaling right to this little white background here, and I'll be sure to show you a picture of the finished layout here at the end of the video. But before you go, again, don't forget to head over to Lauren's channel, Craft Some Joy, and Kylie's channel, Paper Sweetpea, so that you can see what they create with the Heart to Help paper pack and our printable embellishments. I think you're going to get some great ideas between the 3 of us, and hopefully there's one in there that you can use. Don't forget as well to continue to support the fundraising efforts for the IRC by purchasing one or more of our Scrap With Me ×3 tutorials this month. Again, all of the links will be in the description box here below the video, and we encourage you to help us support the IRC. We'll be back with an announcement near the end of the month to let you know how much we've raised, and we hope to see you again next month when we do another Scrap With Me ×3 collaboration. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye for now.